Lay down my body, oh, lay down my body on the floor, lay down my story, oh. Tell me where to rest my head, lay down my body, oh. Lay down my worries on the floor, lay down my story, oh. And onto the ground. When I'm not feeling very present, I just wanna get lost in the earth. I just wanna get deep down, deep down, deep down. I just wanna get deep down. And lay down my body, oh, lay down my body on the floor, lay down my story, oh. And tell me where to rest my head, lay down my body, oh, lay down my worries on the floor. Tell me where to rest my head, 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 tell me where to rest my head.
So that's not yet released.
It's not yet released.
How much do you have that's not released?
Too much, far too much.
What is it about releasing something that is hard?
Perfectionism, the desire for something to be really great, for it to be perfect, to know that there's only one chance really to release something. I mean, you can always release something and then redo it afterwards, but like it's not very fun. I was watching a documentary the other day of Oasis, and Noel was basically saying if he knew how successful his second album would be, what's the story? He was like, I never would have released it. He repeated verse 1 for verse 2. They had 3 weeks at this studio in Wales called Rockfield Studio, and they booked 3 weeks to do the whole album, and they basically did the whole album in like a week. Yeah. Half of the songs were unwritten, and the whole album's an absolute classic, and most of their hits are from that album. He was just like, well, I just kind of finished them and sent them out there. But had he known how successful they'd have been, he'd still be in there now agonizing over like the little parts.
How does knowing that affect how you create and share your music?
I think I want it to be perfect when people receive it, when I share it and when people receive it. You know, it's a reflection of me, it's a reflection of my work. And I want them to be uplifted, or whatever emotion I want to share with them and for them to feel. Of course, as soon as you release it, it means something different to everyone. But I also want it to, I'm birthing something, I want to give it the most potential that it possibly has. Yeah. So I want to like fiddle and for it to be perfect.
How do you like strike the balance between keeping a creative flow going, but also having a high enough standard for it to feel like it's worthy of release and worthy of sharing?
It's probably just knowing when to stop and when to say enough is enough. Probably also focusing on doing a few things at one time, rather than trying to release everything and write more and release more. It's probably just be like, okay, I'm in writing mode at the moment. Okay, I'm in recording mode at the moment. I'm in releasing mode at the moment. If I'm in writing mode, I'm thinking more expansive. I'm thinking more new. I want to bring new ideas in. And then imagine that I'm then recording at the same time. Then I'm going to want to bring some new ideas into the recording, and the producer's going to be like, what do you mean, Guy? We've spent, hours and hours and hours doing it like this.
Music is a part of your life. I'm always like impressed and interested to know that actually music is the thing you do for fun, and like it's the kind of, I guess, creative expression from you. Yeah. But you also have a business that you run as well.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah. So my business exists to try and alleviate homelessness. So we invest in all different types of homeless and affordable housing. And I'm proud to say that over the last 10 years, we've helped 10,000 people, created 10,000 new homes. And the way that we do that is we invest in all different types of accommodation across the country. And then we repurpose that accommodation for either homelessness or general needs affordable housing. And that could be just discount rent, or it could be shared ownership, which is a part buy, part rent tenure, affordable access to home ownership. So incredibly rewarding. It's grown a hell of a lot, and it's enjoyable most of the time as well.
Yeah. I have a question, which is, you're like heading up the business, right? And that looks a certain way in terms of like managing people, creating strategy, bringing money in. Do you feel like you're still connected to the like hands-on impact that you make or does that something that feels a bit distant from what you're doing day to day?
It definitely feels distant. The way I bring it in is in the conversations that I have, and in the conversations both with partners and also internally with staff. It's really important for me and for my sanity and also for my motivation to keep the mission and the impact at the forefront. And the more that I do that, the more I feel aligned in what I do.
How long has it been at the business?
10 years next
Whoa.
month.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe by the time it's released in August,
Yeah.
it'll be 10 years.
That's huge.
Yeah.
What's been the secret or way in which you've managed to stay like engaged, passionate, and driven by the same mission for that long?
Well, I guess it's being creative and it's always evolving. So what it was 10 years ago is absolutely not what it is now, and what it won't be either in 10 years. It'll be something completely different. Um, and having that ability to be creative and for it to be rebirthed several times over, different ways of going about things, different ideas, that's been a great way of staying engaged.
How how have you found the process of kind of re-relating to the business as both you've evolved and the business has evolved? How does that work?
Now it's about hiring the right people. Before, when we started the business, it was all about what can I do? If I don't do this, then it won't happen. And I need to be the person who does that always. Now it's about understanding what I think the business needs based on the vision that I've set, and then bringing the right people in to fulfill that vision. I think a really big thing that has served us really well is creating the business for people to work in that we would want to work in if we were going to work for someone else. And for me, that would be about having autonomy in the business and for me to feel ownership. One of our core behaviors is own it. And a big phrase that we've always said is have your own business within the business. So for me, it'd be like, okay, what's Guy Horne Limited as part of HSPG, which is our business. So that's super important for people to feel, okay, I've got my own business within the business and I matter.
And that allows you to still continue to feel like you want to work in the business. It doesn't become this thing that is separate to you that you don't relate to in such a good way anymore. What's the biggest mistake that you made in the last 10 years of running the business? And most importantly, what did you learn from that experience?
Wow. I think it's always about people. Probably not hiring as quickly or giving enough responsibility to people or trust with them. Another big thing is about motivation. What was the top of the mountain that I was looking for? Which when I started the business, it was all about numbers, it was all about profit. And I'd say the big realization from that is after a couple of years, it gets very empty. And by the way, even when you make a lot of money, you don't have the money. It's not like it's sat there in cash in your room and you're going spending it. Like, it's not that.
You're in a big room full of cash and you're swimming.
Yeah, I've got my armbands on. Like, it's not even that. You know, you accumulate money, but ultimately it stays within the business and it's invested in the next project. So it's not even really tangible. Yeah. So after a couple of years, you realize actually, well, this isn't fulfilling. I guess the learning from that is be really intentional with why you're doing something or why I'm doing something. It's like, what's the real reason why I'm doing this? And does that serve me or doesn't it?
What is the why, the motivation, the kind of lighthouse that guides you in this endeavor?
It's helping people. It's getting people out of the system and into our system. So out of the homeless system and giving people a roof over their head and the opportunity to thrive and develop in their community. With a safe home above your head, you have so much more opportunity than, of course, sleeping on the streets, but also with affordable housing, if you're struggling to pay your rent every month, if you then have a house that is more affordable for you, you can then spend money on other things. You can then think about other things other than needing to pay the rent this month. You can't have kids if you can't afford to pay your rent. How can you afford to bring up a child? Yeah. So it develops families, it develops communities. And also in the homelessness accommodation that we provide support for people, support for them to find a job, support for them to write a CV, really basic support for them to manage their finances. they might get support for any substance misuse that they've had or any addictions. So all of these things, and then ultimately support to move into their own accommodation. So all of these things are super important for them people to then live fulfilled lives. And it starts with a house. And it has to be well managed as well. It's no good giving someone a house, like a roof over their head, and it's in terrible repair. That's not going to help them. So you have to think holistically.
Holistically, whole system. How do you help these people and this person?
Yes.
Rather than just giving them a tiny amount.
But that one intention of wanting to, we say, develop communities. So we say we're ensuring the UK's future by building partnerships, creating homes, and developing communities. That's our ABCD. So if you can have those things in mind, everything else follows.
Whereas if you have like a profit incentive or even just unclear incentives or unclear alignment, then everything is a really confusing, muddled decision.
Yes.
Coming back to you, like Ray, back to the start, what got you interested in this particular problem, this area of the world, homelessness and affordable housing? How did it start?
It started by chance. I went for a lunch with an old friend from when we were kids, and he was saying that you can invest in property in Greater Manchester for like 40, 50 grand. And there was a charity who would essentially share tenants who were homeless, be it families or individuals. And then you could claim the rent directly from the council to house these people. So I just finished my master's degree, and I kind of went home. I wrote down the numbers, and I went home that night, and I put into a really basic Excel model what he described to me. And I was like, that's super interesting because the returns are very high. And it was like, well, if I can generate high returns, feels like we're doing some good work. There's huge demand for this. And there's a lot of supply because there's a lot of supply of cheap housing at the time. And at the time, I had a job in London lined up. I was going to work for a private wealth manager focusing on sports clients, which was like, you know, I kind of wanted to be like a sports agent or something. Like, I was obsessed with football, and you know, I thought that I wanted to support footballers. I thought that having a bit of real estate experience, I would then be able to apply that with wealth management for ultra high net worth sports people. So I thought, okay, well, I'll just learn a little bit as I go along. So I ended up working with this guy for a few months. And then after a few months, like it didn't really go very far. And he decided he didn't want to build the partnership, and he wanted to go back into his family business. So I then spent 6 months, or maybe closer to 9, working for a different property investment business that was a digital crowdfunding business. So it was crowdfunding investment into property. And I learned a hell of a lot there. And in the meantime, my business partner graduated and finished university. He's a year younger than I am.
So wasn't your business partner at that point, but became it later?
So he started helping me when he graduated. He started helping me on some of the management side on the company I was working for.
He was your friend at that point?
He was my friend, but we'd had a lot of experience working together. Because when we were at school, we'd buy and sell online. We were those guys who'd buy in from China and India and sell it on eBay. You know, we'd always have schemes going in school. And my dad actually once accused me of selling batteries in school because he couldn't find batteries at home, and I was so entrepreneurial. He thought I'd taken his batteries and was selling them in school.
Like double A's, triple A's.
Get your batteries. Yeah.
Good market there in school.
Really good market. I was selling 3310 phone cases in year 7.
Oh, I remember those. The Nokia.
Yeah. I would buy a pack of sweets. And then a big pack, and then sell them individually. I'd charge higher ones for the sherbet and lower ones for like the shitty orange ones. I was that guy. And then when we got to 16, 17, we'd spend our summers in Spain, in Marbella. We would we were promoters initially. So I'd go up to hundreds of people a night, and I'd say, hey, where are you off to tonight? And that got me really good as well at selling to people and talking to people, understanding their motivations, and taking rejection.
That was a rejection therapy.
Incredible. Intense. At 16, 17, what better way to do it? And especially with a bit of Dutch courage as well. So, and that's how we started working together.
Okay, that's a really good recipe.
We did that, of course. So we had this 11 to 18 at school. And then we had our summers at university working in Spain together.
So you went to the same university? Oh, you went
We
to
went to the
different
same
university.
university as well, but we spent our summers in Marbella. But this time we leased the bar from the owner. So we were working at the bar, and
Oh,
it was his idea really. And
to
another friend
lease
was
it as
doing it
well.
as well. Yeah, to lease it.
Well, and what difference did that make rather than
Well,
just being a promoter?
we were the promoter, but then we became the owners. So we leased. We took a lease
Yeah,
on the bar
for
for
a
the whole
whole
summer,
season.
for
Wow.
the whole season, and we had to pay up front. So borrowed money from my mum, and
Wow.
it
So
was
success would look like getting enough people in this bar.
yes.
And so
But we were
that,
confident in doing it. Why?
yeah.
Because we were bringing all the customers in for the last few years.
Yeah, so the
we knew we
maximum you
do
could
it.
make before was just the salary that you were getting for being a promoter, plus commission
A bit
probably.
of commission, yeah.
But now you have this bigger upside potential, but more risk. But you're
Yes.
willing to do that because that's the kind of
We had nothing to
character you have.
lose. We were 19, 20 years old, and we had nothing to lose. And it was very successful. One summer, we had 80 people come out from various parts of our life, be it university or school, and they came out to work with us. We rented 6 apartments that summer, and people were sharing rooms and sharing houses. So we became de facto landlords
your
and
friends.
managers for our friends, and some of them were older than us. My business partner definitely did a much better job than I did at like organizing everything.
Were there any stories from that time?
Of course. Yeah, I mean there were times where you'd get phone calls at like 4 or 5 a.m. People would come back from nights out, blind drunk, tried to climb over the fence and fell over, cracked their head open. We've got to go to the hospital. Can you drive us? I remember one time we went to restock the bar. So there'd be a delivery usually once a week on a Friday. And I think that it was the men's Wimbledon semi-final. So we went to unload the alcohol in the bar and the soft drinks. And I left my car in the space I always leave it, but I only leave it for 5 minutes. Yeah. They unload it and then I go back out. But of course, this time it was Wimbledon, so we put Wimbledon on. And we're watching like this amazing men's semi-final. It was probably like Nadal or Federer. Yeah. And then like an hour or two later, the game finishes and we go back to the car. I'm like, I'm sure I left the car here. And of course, it was in like a towing place, and it was towed to the other side of like towards Malaga. Yeah. And it took us like a day to work out where it had gone because there's no sign saying where it goes.
Yeah, so just
so you need to like start ringing everyone. And this was before like an iPhone as well. So we didn't know where it was, and we didn't know who to ask. So that was fun. And of course, I just threw away 300 euros, which people
you
weren't
have to
happy
write it
about.
off.
Totally.
So this is like landlord plus. People have an image of what landlords do, which is just like sit on a rental property and rake in the cash. But the reality, and your reality, was you become people's doctors, you become like a fixer, you become a plumber, you become an electrician, you become everything to everything. And it's some of the early tastes that you had.
And of course, it's about people as well, right? And you can imagine guys and girls coming out for the summer, working together, living together. There's a lot of interpersonal relationships that are going on there as well. And also, I wanted to have fun.
Social dramas.
I was 20, 21. I didn't want to be stressed with all these things, but you end up taking on that responsibility in that role. And I guess that made it really easy that when we did eventually come and work together after university, it was so natural because we had that experience before.
Yeah, there's trust, this foundation.
Absolutely, yeah.
Wow. You've now had this long-term relationship with your co-founder.
Yeah.
How do you stay on the same page, maintain that? How do you like allow your relationship to evolve naturally and stay what I imagine like relatively close given everything that you go through?
Yeah, I mean, we've got our roles. In the beginning, it's like we just did everything together, but at the same time, we still had our roles. Yeah. Like he was the one to make sure the deals went through. I would do a lot of the sourcing. He'd stay on top of the contractors. So I would do a lot of like the early stage work. He would do that kind of 20 to 100%. I'd do the 0 to 20 work. I love the sourcing. I love the selling, and I love that side. Yeah. The newness of everything was always really exciting to me. So even since the beginning, we've kind of had our roles. And of course, as the business has grown, there's over 50 people in it now. Naturally, our roles have grown again, and we perform different roles. One of our core behaviors is have strong opinions, but hold them lightly. So I feel very at ease to be like, this is my opinion. I feel very, very strongly about this. But then I'm also incredibly receptive when he's then coming to me and said, no, I don't think we should do it because of X, Y, and Z. And I might be like, that's not convincing me. Yeah. And he'll know that it's not convincing me, and he knows I'm not talking shit, and he'll know that actually he needs to come up with another reason. And if he can't, then he'll come on board with me. So there's no ego there. Why? Because it's not me versus him.
Idea versus idea.
It's the two of us against the problem. And then, of course, a lot of the time, he'll come to me and he'll say, I think that it should be X, Y, and Z. And I'll be like, well, actually, yeah, I completely agree with you. And I'll do a 180. And because that is our core behavior and how we've always been as a partnership, that's then become a company core behavior, and how I like to think that the majority of the people working in the business together are acting as well.
You've now started this business together. What does it look like at that point, and where did it grow?
Well, we just bought one house. So we bought our first house whilst I was still working at this other company. We bought a house.
What year was this?
This was 2015, but it was January, February 2015. We bought a house for £49,500, a 2-bed terrace, 1.5 miles from the city centre of Manchester. That's now worth, 2.5 times that in 10 years. So the ability to buy really cheaply at the time was just a moment in the market, because the financial crash happened, and Manchester especially areas in the north, were still reeling from that. So you were able to buy at really attractive levels. And we started seeing things shift really from 2015 onwards. So we got in really just when things started moving upwards. So we bought our first house, and he was, as I said, he was helping me on the management of what I was doing. This business didn't grow the way that the business wanted it to grow. And we saw that we were able to do things like buying this house outside of the business. So we decided to give it a go full time. That August, we then bought another house. We bought it in auction. And we had a lot of confidence in doing the transaction, because we had been brokering sales for other investors. So we knew that there were investors for the product that we were making. We knew that we had a tenant for the houses, because we were partnering at the time with, and we still do partner with them, an asylum seeker accommodation provider. They were a publicly listed company, and therefore their lease was quite valuable. So we were able to buy well. We had contractors who we'd worked with, because we'd basically done it on a fee basis for other people. We knew those contractors were good. So we could buy, we could do the works, we could tenant, and we were confident in the buyer that we had. We knew that our total cost of the property and the works was less than what the buyer was going to pay. We didn't have the money. So we had a bit of money left over from our days in Spain. We cobbled a bit more together from parents, like 5-10 grand, that kind of thing. And we took a very risky loan. So we took a bridging loan. And
was it personally guaranteed?
It was personally guaranteed. Right. I had no assets, so I don't know what
just else. You.
I don't know what was personally guaranteeing, like my PS3. I don't know. And
what would be the time before that would be called, and how long did you have to turn that around? Like, what's the risk involved?
So we had 12 months to turn it around, and we probably turned it around in 4 or 5 months. But our parents were like, it's incredibly risky, be careful. But we were like, let's roll the dice, right? It was expensive money. But we had all those things lined up. We didn't really feel we had anything to lose. And I think that mentality was like, okay, well, let's just go for it. And then I'm proud to say that bridging lender is now the reason why we've grown our business from nothing to investing almost £1 billion into social and affordable housing in the UK.
So you're still working with the same bridging lender?
Absolutely.
Did they see potential in you at the time?
They absolutely did. By the time of our third deal, so kind of like owner, CEO, and the MD brought us in for a meeting, and I remember I was so nervous, and I knew who this guy was. He was a very well-respected guy in the Manchester community. He basically was the largest private lender in the country. So to be meeting him after a few transactions was incredibly powerful, and he genuinely cared about our business.
Did you think you were in trouble?
Well, at school, if I ever got called in, it wasn't a good thing.
Exactly.
So I kind of was used to getting, turning a bad situation around. So here it was like a good situation, and I was able to put an even better positive spin on it. And I think that gave us confidence to know that actually we're working with a very relationship-driven people. But I didn't know that actually banks aren't normally like that.
No, banks aren't like that at
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
So
But I
this isn't
didn't.
a normal bank.
No, absolutely. So to have that experience was amazing, and yeah, they've been incredibly instrumental to us, because I'm sure that not a lot of other lenders would have lent to us either, because we had no track record. But actually, for them meeting us, they then understood, what is your business plan? And I think it was super interesting for them to be like, wait, you've already basically pre-sold this. We'd pre-sold the properties. So we knew the price that we'd pre-sold it at. We knew the price that we were buying it at. We knew the cost of works. So we felt confident in it. And by them meeting us and understanding our business plan, they were like, okay, great, go and do more. And that gave us the confidence, like, if this guy tells you to go and do more. And he was so friendly. And I also learned a lot about how to be in business as well, because before he's even sat down, he's telling you a story. And he's telling you this super interesting story about how he got into it and how he built his business. And for him to share, he spent over an hour with us of how his business started and this journey that he went on, and how he didn't plan to start his business, but he just wanted to cater for people and deliver for his partners. So that's why he built it, and that's why he ended up building this business. And just hearing those stories was like super inspiring and felt very tangible to me, and made me realize that actually, if something feels right and it makes sense and it feels aligned, just go for it, and you'll be repaid for that. I mean, we've gotten to the stage where we've maxed out our limit, of course, with them now. So we've grown as far as we can do with them. But I see that relationship staying for a very, very long time within the boundaries of their limits as well.
Beautiful example of how important relationships are to like long-term business development, and also just probably anything outside of business too.
Yeah, and of course, them being lenders, what do they care about? They care about you paying them the interest on time, and we always have done.
I still don't understand how you managed to get that first deal.
Yeah.
Like, what was that? Like blind trust?
For them to fund us in the first place.
Yeah.
I think that was our only option, and we knew who they were. A friend of mine at the time was working for them as well, so we kind of sat down and presented the business case. And I think because we bought the property very well at auction, that also gave them the confidence to know. Because listen, worst case, they repossess the property.
So they still have that. That's the
Of
collateral.
course,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
they lent us 75% of what we paid for it.
Yeah.
And we paid under market value for it. So, worst case, they're not stupid, these
Yeah,
people.
yeah, yeah. They'll get to keep the property.
They
So.
keep the property, right? We lose the property.
How do you feel you've changed and grown as a leader, and what are the areas that you're looking to grow in right now?
How can I grow more is giving up more control myself, and rather than kind of like leading from the front and showing people this is how to do it, this is how I should be doing it. It's more saying, them ensuring that they are clear on their responsibilities, but they tell me what their responsibilities are, and then it's for me to be like, okay, these are your tasks, they're your tasks, they're not mine. I'm here to support you, to help you to do it, and I agree with you that these are your tasks. But I think it's for them to know that it's their tasks as well. And I think that's more work that I can still be doing, which is kind of like letting go and letting them, me coming from behind and being supporting, rather than me leading from the front and dragging them along. It's that metaphor of cutting the rope with me at the front and me being behind them and letting them go forward. So that's more the analogy and the mindset and the intention that I'm trying to bring in moving forward.
We're going to take a pivot now into music,
Yeah.
because that's also a big part of your life.
Yeah.
What's like the story arc of your relationship to music? How did it begin, and what's it now?
So I attribute a huge sense of who I am and what I am becoming to my formative years on summer and winter camps. It's a Jewish youth movement called Habonim Draw, and I started going on that youth movement from the age of 10. Every Sunday night, I would go and meet new people and go to these evenings near where my dad lived. Essentially from the ages of 10 to 19, I spent every summer and winter pretty much on these camps. Even the first year, I remember incredible musicians. There was a guy called Gideon Conn, who is an amazing musician, and interestingly, Ed Sheeran once supported him.
No way.
So there's videos on YouTube of Ed Sheeran supporting Gideon
Wow.
in his concerts. And he came in to our camp, age 10, and was singing for us. And he had his guitar, and he was amazing. And then him and his brother Dan, they were both musicians. And I remember the next 3 years, they were coming in and playing music. And I wanted to be that guy on camp who I loved singing. So in the junior school, I was in the choir and had a good voice. And I loved singing, and I was joining in from a singing perspective. But then I wanted to be the guy who played the guitar. So by the time I was 14, one of the leaders on camp taught me how to play guitar. He taught me Tears in Heaven. I wanted to know Tears in Heaven. So he taught me Tears in Heaven.
Do you still remember it?
I think so.
Should we try to play it?
Well, I don't know the whole thing, but I can remember the intro.
Go on.
Something like that.
So was that the first song you learned on the guitar?
Yeah, he taught me this. He taught me this like little funky thing, like, and it was like a hammer on. You know?
Yeah.
And like that was like, wow. And I wanted to learn that. And of course, that's not the easiest thing to teach someone when they've never played the guitar before.
Yeah.
I didn't know any chords, I didn't know anything. So the first thing I've asked him to teach me is obviously something quite complicated. So he taught me that. And then it was like, well, how can I then, play Stand By Me round the fire? And that was like the next challenge. And then playing and singing together. And then, of course, every summer, every winter camp, it was music filled. Every morning, we would stand in almost a circle, and we would go around singing songs, and it would be all about how much energy could you put into singing these songs. And what was super interesting is we would make the songs up. So on summer camp, we would spend 4 or 5 days going around with these really heavy bags. We're small little children, and we're going around with these bags on our backs. And then in the evenings, we would make up songs that we would then know that we would have to sing in front of the rest of the camp for the next 10 days straight. So it needed to be really good, So I was writing music. Don't get me wrong, like we weren't creating the melody as well. We were probably taking like Sean Kingston, Beautiful Girl, and like
Just changing it up.
Crazy by Niles Barkley and stuff, and changing it up, or like Black Eyed Peas or whatever it was. And then, but we would change the lyrics, and it just sparked this whole thing of enjoyment of writing songs, of performing in a way, and being in community, playing music. And it was so much fun, brought so much joy. And I guess that kind of filtered through. And, by the time I was 18, 19, I stopped going on camps, and then I took my guitar to university, and I don't think I got it out once.
Yeah.
And it stopped being cool, basically.
Yeah.
And it was probably 10 years until I picked it up again. I was traveling in Bali, and it was my 28th birthday, and I was on a yoga retreat. This girl who I'd only met a few days earlier was like, I want to host you a birthday party. Please come over to my villa. And everyone else from the yoga retreat came. Wow. She'd organized food and a fire, and she made like homemade tea. And I was like, this is the best birthday party I've ever had. And she's known me for like 4 or 5 days. Wow. And this was like my first foray into the conscious community. Yeah. People had their guitars out and their ukuleles out and banging drums. And I was like, I kind of remember what this feels like, because that's what it was like when I was a teenager, but I don't remember anything. And I felt a bit nervous to sing. Yeah. And I was like, wait, can I have a go on the guitar? And I was like, wait, what's a C chord again? Like, forgotten everything. But of course, when you start picking it back up, it's a lot easier than when you started in the first place. So I remember ordering a guitar on Amazon, which is this one, this little travel Luna guitar. Yeah, absolutely. It'll definitely be out of tune. It's not because it's only 150 quid, it won't keep tune well. But this is what I bought, and then I started playing on it.
Wow.
And it just coincided, essentially going towards COVID time, where we started having a lot more time on our hands. I was practicing more, and I really enjoyed it. And I enjoyed playing with people. I love collaborating. That's such a big part of why I do what I do, because it allows me to collaborate, and it's another modality of connection. And my why is connection, my personal why, be it through music, through social, through partnership, through family, work, music. It's all about, my why is all about connection. Even my health, like my connection to my body, and also the ability to do sport whenever, however I want.
Let's have another music break.
Okay. Sitting here wondering why, how much time till I say my last goodbye. I've been playing out the same old scenes, waiting on this lover's dream for me. No, you don't even call me, you don't even call me no more. No, you don't even call me, you don't even answer my phone. So I won't be waiting, I won't be waiting on you. No, I won't be waiting, waiting on you. Spent my breath one too many times over you. Wasted too many nights, cried too many times for you. No, you don't even call me, you don't even call me no more. No, you don't even call me, you don't even answer my phone. Calls, so I won't be waiting, waiting on you. No, I won't be waiting, I won't be waiting on you. And I'm waiting, I'm so done waiting on you. So are you waiting? Waiting on You. And that was my first big hit. It's my second single. And that's when I really started putting a lot of energy and attention into it. And I think it's nice to play because it was like a real shift from I'm just a kid having fun with music and, you know, just like playing around and hanging out with friends and playing and writing a little to like, no, actually, I want to do this properly and I want to share my music with people. That was the first song that I released kind of after that. It was the second single I released, but it was the first, I think the confidence of my first single gave me, it allowed me to like, okay, I should do, people like this, I should do this properly. So with this, I made a music video and worked with an amazing producer and like really, really kind of like pushed the song and it became what felt for me like really successful. I think it's been streamed like across platforms at over 500,000 times.
Whoa.
Which is super cool. It came out of me in 5 to 10 minutes.
Wow.
I was sat on my couch. I was living in Israel at the time, and there was a girl that I connected with, and I was super excited about connecting with her again. And it was like, yeah, we should do something. And what are you doing this weekend? Okay, great, let's speak on the weekend. And, oh, I can't, I'm busy now, I've got to do something. And, you know, I was just playing this dance and I was being so nice. I was like, yeah, totally, like, it's so cool, whatever. And like, but really inside, I was like, no, this isn't cool, actually, because we'd made plans and like, you know, and I was incredibly frustrated, and I felt this frustration. I can even feel it now, like in my solar plexus, and I'm incredibly impatient as a person anyway. But like, I'm a big believer and fan of like communicate properly, and what you say is what you should do. And I'm not perfect at it, and people aren't perfect at it, and there's always reasons why. But when there's a pattern, it's like, that's not okay. And really, I should have voiced that it wasn't okay. But instead, I had the amazing treat of being able to write this, and all my frustrations poured out into this song, that I'm not waiting for you anymore. And then suddenly, all that energy that was so pent up in me felt so much better, so much easier, and allowed me really to let her go. And I think the time that I saw her after that, we had like a really frank and honest conversation, and I was able to say things to her that maybe would have felt more tricky previously. And I was able to come at things from much more kind of equal, steady, like more balanced place, basically. And I think that's the beauty of music. I don't know 99% of the people who've listened to this song now, and who continue to listen to it and playlisted it, but hopefully it's brought other things to them that mean something completely different to them, or the energy that I've put into that, they've received it in their way, and hopefully it's bringing them healing and fun and enjoyment in a way that it did for me.
What a beautiful example of taking some pain or challenge and using a art form to alchemize it into something that's beautiful.
Yeah.
And then also having the courage to share it and like package it in a way that distributes it to a broad amount of people as well.
Totally.
There's a lot of steps that it takes to do that.
Yeah,
and not many people do.
I'm very fortunate to have worked with an amazing producer who brought that to life for me as well. There were a couple of people, actually. I made a demo with one guy, and he, as soon as I met him, he was like, I love this song, let me have a tinker around with it. So he got out his laptop and then started playing all these really cool riffs on it. And I'm like, you know, I was like, that's amazing. And again, it's about collaborating with people and partnering with people, and that allowed me to bring my creation to life, which is so incredible. To have someone play your song back to you and make it something greater than what you had it is really special.
So that was one of the first songs that you felt after releasing it, you kind of had some sort of like traction and like what you like felt was success.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that drives you to continue to create and continue to pursue this?
So the first single that I released that gained a bit of traction got me in the room with these other musicians to then create this song, producers and similar. And then that has now allowed me to get into the room with other musicians. So I've been working on a band project for the last 4 or so months. And I would say that everything, you know, I'm so privileged and grateful to be working with these guys now. I really am. And I love it. And had it not have been everything I've done till now, I wouldn't deserve to be in that room, right? And it's not being hard on myself, but had I not have put the hours in and practiced and got better and been able to write better music and support them musically, I wouldn't deserve a place in the room. So that's why I do it. Again, it allows me to further my journey into music, and also it's amazing. I love learning. I really enjoy learning, and to be able to learn about different styles of music and different ways of playing things and being around better musicians just is really is an enjoyment for me. And I enjoy receiving from them, and I enjoy giving to them. And I'm excited now also to perform and to be able to perform with a band. It didn't really excite me performing solo. I like the idea of writing. I love writing, but I like writing with people. So here to be able to write with people is amazing. And then to be able to perform with people is super exciting, because it feels, when I'm performing, I feel like I'm giving to my bandmates, but I'm also giving to the audience. And I feel a lot more comfortable giving to the audience now than I think I previously did. And that's probably because when I first started, it was like, how am I being judged? How am I being perceived? Didn't have confidence in myself because it was still new to me. I was winging it, right? You know, I picked up a guitar for the first time in 10 years and started singing, and within a couple of years I'd released a single. Like that doesn't happen, right? But that's been a big theme in my life of, I want to do something, so I'm going to go and do it, and I'm going to do it in this amount of time. I'm going to go and achieve something that I want to achieve, but I'm going to play chess. I call it like life chess.
Can you like elaborate on that a little bit?
Absolutely. So I see where I want to get to, and I will understand what's the minimum number of steps for me to get to where I want to get to. And typically I'll reverse engineer kind of how I want to get there. But I'm not the most patient person in the world. So I will play life chess where I'll be like, okay, well, I want to be a better musician and I want to get in the room with better musicians. Well, I like this song, I'm going to release it. So I just go and make that happen. And then, well, once I've done that, and that happened very quickly.
Do you feel like you have any like blockers to your creativity, blockers to your creative flow, or blockers to your path?
Yeah, I think it's judgment. I think as soon as we become aware of how we're being perceived and conscious of how we're being perceived, suddenly it takes us out of the body and into our heads. It takes us into the ego mind, which is like fear of judgment, and that's not, you know, whereas really, what do I want it to be? I want it to be heart-centered. I want it to be focused on what can I give to the people receiving this. So the blocker comes in on when we become self-conscious, and that's like the worst thing for a creative. And sometimes it's the worst thing when you start a song and you're like, oh my God, this is fucking great. Because then suddenly, then it takes you out of the moment and you stop receiving this channel from wherever people want to say that you receive music from. And you stop channeling and you start getting in your head and being perceived on like, how does it look and how does it sound? And
I love that it's either like too good or too bad. It's like it just needs to be a
totally, which is
creation.
why when you're in a room with people and you'll feel very comfortable with those people, you can create some really, really great things.
That is awesome.
And it gives you the permission as well, because when they're in their flow, then it gives you the permission to be in your flow as well.
So let's talk about this room.
Oh, this is, I've written a lot of great songs in this room.
Yeah, this is a very special room for lots of different reasons. But yeah, how did this room come to be, and Fruity Fridays and your gatherings and your like creative connections?
So a friend of mine had been looking for a place in London for a while. And we were talking about different areas, and she tried Notting Hill and Marylebone, and she tried all these different Airbnbs. And I was living in northwest London in Belsize Park at the time. And I'd created like a little bit of a studio in that house. So I knew what I kind of, and when I was living in Israel, I also had a kind of studio room there. So I knew I was really enjoying living in a place where there was a place to play music. And this friend said to me, I don't know what area I want to live in. And I was like, I think you're going to like Angel. I'd been there once, okay? And she was like, why'd you like it? I was like, I don't know, I've been there once and I just like the vibe. It has a good high street, but it also feels like there's loads of independence. And I'd started coming to ecstatic dance. I just started coming to ecstatic dance. And of course I was taking the overground. So I knew I kind of wanted to start moving a little bit more east. And I knew that for other people, I think they would enjoy it too. So I said to her, listen, we'll go for lunch. I'll take you for lunch and we'll go for a walk around Angel and see if you like any areas. And if you do, then you can start looking for properties there. So we go for lunch at Ottolenghi, and it's all healthy and we're having a great time and we're walking and we're going down the canal and it's so green, and I'm selling her the dream. I'm like, look how amazing it is. You've got the water here, you've got the high street, but you're also 1.5 miles from the city centre. Like, you're so central here. Like, I like showed her on a map. I was like, you're like the same as Regent's Park. Like, that's how central you are. Like, it's amazing. And then we kind of get to the end of the day and I've sold the shit out of it to her and of course myself. And she goes to me, why don't you look somewhere? And of course I'd already convinced myself that I'm going to look somewhere, but I own this property, so it's like feels a bit silly. So I said, you know what, I'm going to look for a rental, and if I find somewhere that I like, then I'll rent it and I'll rent my place out. So I searched for some properties. I didn't really find anything that I loved, and I kind of knew what I wanted, which is something a bit more traditional, high ceilings, near a high street, near nature, all those good things near a tube station, all the things that kind of people want, with a great space to make music. Okay. And we go around, and I saw 2 or 3 things with this guy, and he was really nice. He actually picked me up in his car, which was great, and he was driving me around. And after the second one, I was like, listen, mate, you're not quite getting it. Like, I want something more like this road. We drove past this road, and I pointed to these houses, and I'm like, I want something more like that road. That kind of bigger, wider. The houses here can be like really big, but like not that lateral, more like tall. And I was like, I want something like a studio space, that kind of thing. And he was like, I actually had something on that road about 6 months ago. It never went to market, but one person saw it, and we kind of agreed a deal, but he never ended up taking it, so it never went anywhere. So I was like, all right, great, well, show it to me. He was like, well, I can't just show it to you. I can't get you in. Like, it's not on the market, and I can't just knock on their door. I was like, sure, but just show it me from the outside. He was like, you sure? I'm like, yeah, I'll know.
Yeah, and
So he turns the car around, does a U-turn, comes down the road. I was like, you wait in the car, I'll get out. I get out of the car, and I look over the wall, and I'm like, yeah, that's it. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, no, that's it. That's the house. And then, of course, it wasn't on the market. The family were living in here. And I then had to convince this family that it was a good idea to let their property to this kid who they didn't know. And thankfully they did, and they've trusted me with it, and it's been an amazing space, and I'm being true to my intention that I shared with them, what I wanted to do here. This was an office. This was a four or 5 person office. There's a kitchenette there, there's a toilet there. Like, people were using this every day to come to work as an architecture studio. And now we've turned it into a room of requirements, where we can play music here, where we can write, and we can hang out, and we've done meditations and breath work and yoga, and we did vision board, mood board making here.
I did a dance class.
You did a dance class here, right? And how amazing is that to have that? And of course, that's a prime example, by the way, of knowing what it is that I want and being able to play live chess to be able to achieve what it is that I wanted to create here.
So for most people, they would have heard or seen that something wasn't on the market and would decide, well, I guess that's a shame.
Yeah.
What makes it different? What makes you different to that mindset? How would you label and describe that?
I feel like we've got one chance to live on this earth, and we should go after the things that we want. And listen, if things aren't right for me, again, I feel like I've got very good at intuiting what feels right for me and what doesn't. And I know if I'm getting a lot better at knowing, is this coming from a place of ego? Is this coming from a place of love? If something feels right to me, I will go after it, and I will pursue that and work for it. For me, it's not like everything comes easy. It shouldn't come easy. Like, if something is worthwhile, you should have to work for it. It should flow. But like, getting it in the first place shouldn't be easy. If you have to work for something, you have to work for something, and that's okay. So it's that balance between not pushing. I think that if it feels like pushing, really pushing, it's probably not right. But if it feels like an authentic flow, even if there's work to be done, you've got to dig your heels in, then so be it. The more we can drown out distractions, it means the more energy that we have to focus on very few things that we can then commit that energy to, and we can progress. Having that essentialism mindset and that simplicity mindset allows us to be more focused on our energy and ultimately achieve more as well. We can't, and also, by the way, that's the same with people. We can't give our energy away to other people as well, because then we become essentially their puppets, and we live by their desires. We don't have any of our energy left for ourselves, for our own desires.
Imagine you're speaking to someone who is at some early stage in their creative journey. What advice would you give them based on your experience?
Get in a room with the right people, with the best people. That's how I learn the best, is by surrounding myself with the right people, and that can be for creative, for work, for even just like happiness, in your social life. Surround yourself with people who are better than you in all of those respects, and you want to learn from them. And they don't need to be sat in a room teaching you. I learn as much from osmosis, just being around them and getting the energy and being like, well, how did they do that? Watching them, feeling them, and taking in, how they're doing it.
Well, I guess that applies for every area of life. How have you found balancing all these different areas of your life? Your creative area, your financial business area,
Yeah.
maybe just personal as well. Have you found that's been an easy thing to flow with, or has it been a challenge?
It's been a challenge. I definitely have had times where I've gone too far into things and then other things suffer. There's an economic principle called the four burners theory. Have you heard of it? Yeah.
Can explain it.
Sure. So friendship, kind of relationships, family, health and work, they're your four burners. And the idea is that you can only have two of them on max at once. And as soon as you try to put another one up, one of the first two begin to suffer. So the idea is really you either need 4.5, or at times you'll be pushing 2 a lot and these two go to 0. And then, maybe you'll have 1 on full, 2 on half, or whatever. I like to think that you can automate things as well. And the more that you become more intentional, the more you can automate things. So, for example, as I told you earlier, I've now got a chef. That really helps me to eat healthy, organic food that's freshly prepared. I don't want to eat out all the time, right? But I've needed to get my finances in the right place that I can afford a chef, right? And also to afford myself holidays and to afford myself the ability to go to the gym most days. So, understanding that burners need to go up and down at certain times, but there's been times where I've had my priorities wrong, and then you learn from that, and then just being more intentional with what serves me. And I guess my newest learning is what I talked about before, which is as much as possible simplicity, really understanding not only what are my priorities in each of those areas, but what are my priorities as a whole. So right now, I'm prioritizing work because I want to hire the right people and I want to raise this money. And that's therefore my number one thing. And just because something is a priority, let's say with friendship, like a big priority for me in friendship is trying to get to, I love playing pool. It brings me so much joy. It's very meditative and I'm good at it, right? And I love playing with, there's a couple of my friends that I enjoy playing with. And we have great chats and it's a good giggle and it's a really nice place, 5 minutes drive from here. So I love going, but ultimately I've only played twice actually in consecutive nights in about 3 or 4 months. And I showed up and the guy was like, I've not seen you in ages, the guy at the pool club. And I was going once or twice a week before, but ultimately it's taken a back seat. So it's like understanding, whereas before I'd have been like, well, no, they're all priorities for them.
Must do all of them.
Therefore I need to do all of them. But of course things suffer and I end up doing a 75% job in all of them. Whereas now, because I'm being really intentional, I can go 100% with no distractions on those things and really enjoy them.
Yeah, I get it. A consistent 75%.
Get more enjoyment out of it.
Yeah.
Because I'm
all in. All into
I'm
one
all
thing,
in.
yeah.
And if you're all in on something, you gain enjoyment. If you're not, it's
Yeah, it sucks to be in between everything, thinking of all the other stuff that you're not doing.
Totally.
Yeah. I've got my final kind of question areas around connecting to your why.
Yeah.
Connecting to this inner place within you that drives vision, intention, direction, decision making. What's been your journey on connecting to that? And have you got any practices or methods or ways in which you listen and then create from that place?
So it's a massive question, but I think music is a great way of doing that. Had the pleasure of going to a friend's kirtan yesterday evening, Katie Hind. Really talented musician. She's really coming into her own, sharing her kirtans now herself. She's be part of a wider group to do it. I was there for no more than 45 minutes and the energy shift, I've been away the last week and then I was in London for 2 days and of course you get Londonified very quickly.
Yeah.
After going on the Victoria line 3 times, it's very easy to get Londonified.
I love that word, Londonified.
Yeah. And it's no fault of everyone else's, it's just how it goes. But to step into a space that is only 2 minutes walk from the tube station. And to get de-Londonified in 45 minutes through music and mantra is incredible. And I could have been out in the countryside. I could have spent a week in the countryside and felt that level of peace. For me, it's about being present. Yeah. And if I can be present, whether it's meditation, yoga, breath work, music, you know, they're all just different modalities, and whatever works for me at the time works for you. That brings joy, and that allows creativity to flow and connection to be real, to be authentic. I can't be connected to you if I'm way up here, and I'm not present, and I'm thinking about where I need to go, and what do I need to do now? Like, if I'm not present with you. My mind is elsewhere. As humans, we can't think of two things simultaneously. We can only think of one thing at one time, and we're also just so much happier when we're just 100% all in on something.
Why not just beat it as much as you can?
If we can.
Yeah.
Looked up at the stage and I saw you there. I didn't expect that we were kids there. Goodbye, Jimmy, no more to say. Shut the door and throw the keys away. Keep on chasing what you'll never know. Save your scars for someone else's own. Na 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 na. Together. Na 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 na. Na 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 na.
Goodbye, Jamie. Out by the end of the year.